You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. It's Thursday. We got 2 more days before we get to the weekend, you guys. I got Kaylina in here producing with me today. I got my guy Ed Nunez from the Pit Press, you guys, that's here with me. And, you know, Ed's here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you guys. So, but we got Ned James, Lobo football legend. Yes, bro. Hey, you can laugh all you want, but you put me in the same category. Just saying, man, if it wasn't for people like you that paved the way, not only for football, but you helped it with basketball and all the other sports too. But, hey, what's going on, Ed? What's up, man? What's new in the Pit Press?
We had on Christopher Smalls, the Rio Grande football coach. He went to Coach X football clinic last week, so we got him to talk about the clinic and how things have changed with Lobo football. He played for Bob Davie between 2011 and 2015. We also had Brennan Williams from Lopes Radio, Grand Canyon, last night talking about the work that Grand Canyon has done in the portal. It's impressive. So, we thought it was a very good show.
Yo, so let's bring in Ned when it comes to Lobo football. What was some of the things that he actually said on the Pit Press as far as Lobo football and where they're expecting? Because it's going to come up here pretty soon. Kickoff is September 5th, you guys, right here at home.
Real quick, I'm going to summarize it because I want to hear what Ned thinks. But
exactly.
Yeah, he talked about Bob Davie, how the culture was then, how it is now, how the facilities have changed. They've got a recovery room, protein shakes. He's excited. And we mentioned that, how much of a difference, and I know Ned will talk about it too, that Coach Eck has made in 1 year into the program that a year ago was left reeling when Bronco Mendenhall left. And now look at it. So Christopher Smalls, great interview last night.
Yo, Ed, what's your thoughts with the Lobo football season, especially because you were a part of some of the guys that went through the draft as far as some of these scouts coming in here working out a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I just want your insight on, like, if we can give a little bit what's expected, especially because there's a lot of different changes that's going on right now. Just a little insight, though.
Yeah, like I told Ed, they when you're successful, people want your coaches. They lost 4 coaches off the UNM staff, assistant coaches. Special teams coordinator, which a lot of people saw a lot of great special teams, gadget plays on special teams. They lost the receivers coach who did a great job with Keegan Johnson last year. The running backs coach, the running backs, Bankston, and all those guys played well. And then they also lost the tight ends coach who, the star tight end went to Cal on an NIL deal. So, but they brought in 4 new guys that are every bit as good. I mean, they're coaching their butt off right now. Eck, very well organized at practice, very well. The system, as Jason Eck as the CEO, really works. It's new age, it's progressive. It's one of those things that you have to kind of understand how football operates to know the little tiny details that you have to cover. Now, players are important.
Yeah.
And they got to get new players because they lost some pretty good ones in Bankston. I think Newby was really good. But I think they're going to be all right, especially defensively. Offense, I got to wait and see a little bit because we got some injuries over there.
Yeah, you got Bankston at Channel 4, who I work for. You guys, you can catch me over there at 10 and 6 every day. Bankston, he's getting some looks right now. You got some insight on, like, what's his situation and like, what position will he actually play in the NFL?
Yeah, it's interesting because he's small. He's smaller than most guys. Most of these backs are pretty big nowadays. But they liked his versatility. I talked to one of the Buffalo scouts that was here, and he just – because I know some guys that coach up in Buffalo with the Bills. And, so we kind of, I kind of got in good with him a little bit there, just talking to him on the sideline a little bit about – as I'm watching practice, and they like the fact that he returned kicks. They like the fact that he was versatile as far as catching the ball out of the backfield, those kind of things. They didn't really talk too much about his running skills in between the tackles and that sort of stuff because he is kind of small. But they thought it was decent enough where, they would like to see him play with, at the next level and see if they could. And I don't know if he'll get drafted. It might bring him in as a free agent or whatnot, but I think his versatility is what I think they like.
So we got the returning quarterback that's coming back, but there's also another quarterback that's here that's available that's a little bit more athletic than Lane. Can you give us a little insight on the new the backup quarterback, or if it's up for grabs to a certain extent?
Well, I wouldn't say it's up for grabs because the guy won 9, almost 10 games last year. I mean, the bowl game was a close one. And, in order to, remove the incumbent, and Jack Lane, A lot of people don't like Jack Lane. They didn't like the passing.
I liked him. He was consistent.
Well, he was consistent, but they didn't like. He's not like that natural big thrower that makes those big wild throws that people like to see. You can say what you want. People like that. The passing game is what people come to see. It's tough when you're running the ball a lot. They want to see that quarterback. And if the quarterback's not a big passer, he's got to be like Devin Dampier. He's got to be a runner. And Jack Lane was neither of those. But he did what they wanted him to do. He managed the game. He won the game for him. And a lot of it, he didn't turn the ball over a bunch. He completed a high percentage of passes. And I think he did a great enough job. Now, the new guy, supposed to be a 10-400-meter guy, 4-star recruit, Oregon backup quarterback, supposed to be the new guy. He started off slow. He was a little, and I know it's a new system, but he picked it up the last couple days in practice. A little bit better. But still, I mean, it's still a long way to go before we get to the first game.
I liked Ed. I liked Jake Lane as far as throwing 15, 20-yard passes because I felt like he was consistent, and that's what was needed. I'm a basketball player, but it's about getting first downs and moving the ball. But what's your thoughts
sticks.
there?
One of the things you and I talked about last year. We had you on the pit press several times. He hit 66% of his passes. You always mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
You play quarterback here, man. Yeah. You always tell me about who could spin the ball. You always told me that. Now, some of the screens they ran, long handoffs, they worked. You mentioned schemes, formations, things like that. Yeah. They did a good job of that. Now, Moga, you and I have talked about this as well.
Yeah.
This dude said in the paper, I'm coming here to play meaningful football. He was on 610 just about a week ago and mentioned the NFL. I don't get the idea that this dude is coming just to be happy as a backup. The other point I want to make, James Lobstein did a great job as that change of pace second quarterback.
Right.
So this Luke Moga, again, it's kind of a shadow overhanging. I get what you're saying about Jack Lane. That's ex-guy. I get it. And when you tell me something about football, I just listen, man. But I'm just telling you, I don't get the idea that Moga's coming in just to hey, man, you make the signs.
But it's a good thing. It's competition. It's like anything. Every year guys coming. Every year guys getting drafted in Houston, wherever you were playing at. And so you got to defend your position. Every year kids, young guys are coming in, and they're looking to take your job. They're not looking to just come and sit on the bench. They're looking to come in and produce. And so, sure, I think Coach Eck is probably happy. He wants competition. This young man's a pretty confident guy, so it just seems that, it's going to be, an interesting competition. And, like you said, the guy's talking like he's going to come in as a star. He's coming from a big-time program. He thinks he's taking a step down, coming to a non-Power 5. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. I wanted your insight because you were a quarterback. You know what I mean? So somebody brought that up, and I wanted some insight there. But, hey, when we get back from this break, we got 2 hours before the draft actually kicks off. I want to talk to Ed and Ned about the draft, and we got some opportunities to where I want to talk about Ed's Cowboys, and I want you to talk about my Texans, man, because they're trying to trade and some different things because we stacked. But we'll be right back, man. I want to get into the NFL. Thanks for listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. I got Kaylina in here producing with me today while she's rocking her head, you guys. She is one of those type of people. The only thing she hears is lyrics because she got that voice. Just saying.
Just melody. It's all melody.
And I got my guy Ed from the Pit Press in here with me as well. And I got Lobo legend Ned James in here with me as well, you guys, the football expert. So, hey, during the break, you guys, I have to agree with him, even though you guys know I'm a basketball player, but Ned dropped this. He goes, football is king. Obviously, he laughing, but when it comes to the sport, the most dominant sport, you got to say football is there. And then I don't know if you guys agree, but you can pick up the phone. You can call 505-246-0610, or you can text me as well. If you agree, but basketball got to be second, you guys. And if you agree with me or disagree as well, you can pick up the phone, 505-246-0610. Talking about the first pick of the draft today, Fernando Mendoza. I will drop it to you, Ed, based off of an article that you read that you want to talk with Ned about before I kind of jump into it, because I want to talk about this salary this man's about to make.
He's the Heisman Trophy winner, and I thought his Heisman interview, my wife watched that, and I watched that this morning, and very touching. He talks about his mom, and, it's a very emotional moment. But before that, he's at Cal, middling success there, gets together with Signetti, and look, they win the championship. Curt Cignetti, when he comes in, he says, I'm here. I'm a winner. I'm here to win. And who would have thunk that? Nobody would have thought that, man. Yeah. Indiana had never been anything in football. But I got to ask you this. He's going, by all accounts, he's going to be the number one pick. They said he had a play drawing session with Tom Brady today. Yeah. But what do you see as his strengths and weaknesses? And I got to ask you this. They had an unbelievable season. Is he a product of Cignetti's system? Or do you see what kind of success can he have in the NFL?
Yeah, a lot of it is the culture. He's going to go into a system. I think Kubiak is the head coach there, and that's what a lot of people, kind of lose track of. There's a coaching element involved too, and you've got 52 other players that you got to depend on, and his size, he has the measurables. He's 6'5", pocket passer, good arm, not a great arm, but good enough for NFL standards. I think a lot of the intellectual stuff, a lot of the things that they did in Indiana, schematically, under the center, shotgun. You got to be able to do those things when you get to the NFL. You can't be like Caleb Williams from USC, who all he did was playing shotgun his whole career. Now it's going to take him a little while to develop. I think Fernando comes in a little bit more polished. Cignetti, kind of sort of an NFL trade. His dad was a longtime NFL assistant coach. He's been in the NFL, so he kind of knows, the workings of the system. Even though the college game is a lot different because the hash marks are wider. You're playing with those, balls always in the middle of the field in the NFL because of the hash marks. And I think that's what gives him a little bit of an upper hand, being able to play in that style or that system, because he doesn't have the overwhelming physical traits that a lot of people see from guys who are superstars, which is the 6'5" guy with a cannon for an arm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's bright enough now, but, he may be lacking a little bit there. He's played enough games. He played, why wasn't he a 4 or 5 star guy coming out? He had to go to Cal. He went to Cal as like one of their last recruits, that kind of thing, and then eventually matriculated from Cal to Indiana, where he blossomed. But those things are just stuff you have to wait and see. The NFL game's different. Yeah. You got to get along with the coach. Now they brought in Kirk Cousins to the Raiders to kind of be a mentor. Now I kind of that's a little bit tricky because Kubiak is familiar with Cousins. How long do you stick with Cousins before you go to the young guy? Is the relationship going to interfere with the relationship between Kubiak, who's the quarterback guy, who's the offensive coordinator and head coach? Is that relationship with Cousins, who he's coached before, going to interfere with the development of Mendoza and the relationship Kubiak's going to have with Mendoza eventually if he's the first overall pick?
Yeah, during the break you talked about Tom Brady possibly coming in and being that guy stepping in and mentoring Mendoza. Do you see that happening? Or like you just said, it's probably going to come more from Kirk Cousins when it comes down to being able to help the young fellow along? And then is Kirk Cousins that guy that can take a step to the side when Mendoza actually is given the opportunity?
Well, he hasn't said that. Kirk Cousins says, hey, may the best man win. And so you don't, when you're competing, this as well. When there's another athlete, you don't typically say, hey, I'm here to train this other guy beneath me to take my job. That's not what Kirk Cousins is thinking in his mind. Now the coaches have to understand, hey, we got to develop. This is the first overall pick. We're gonna have to eventually find out what he can do, and so it's gonna be one of those things where you're just gonna have to wait and see. Now the Tom Brady element to it, I'm not buying all that. I mean, Tom was a great cheating player. I call him Tom the Cheater Brady, but that's another story for another day. But I don't think Tom Brady is really going to have a lot to do with the development of Fernando Mendoza. It's going to be more so the coaching staff and the quarterbacks coaches and those people, because Tom's making $300 and something gazillion to work for Fox, and Fox is not paying him to train his quarterback for the Raiders, and that's a slippery slope too with how much access he has to these teams and these players, and he's trying to, he's part owner of the Raiders team. So I don't really see him being that involved in it. I think Mendoza's development will come from just what he is learning from his coaching staff and the players. Now, everybody gets advice from older players, but, he's going to have to get his stuff from the coaching staff and from his team.
Yeah, obviously we got the New York Jets with the second pick. there's some different things out there. They need a little bit of everything. You got David Bailey, and obviously you got Jeremiah Love. They're thinking he's going to go forward to Tennessee to a certain extent, reported by ESPN. But when it comes to New York, the Jets, what are some of the pieces they need to actually start their process over?
To me,
if you were part of that organization, what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
Okay. I think with the quarterback position, the head coach and the quarterback have to get along. You got to find a guy that you like as the head coach. It doesn't matter if you're a defensive guy, which Aaron Glenn is, or an offensive guy. You got to get along with that quarterback. And so Aaron has gotten rid of two guys already. He got rid of Aaron Rodgers and he got rid of Justin Fields. So he's got to find a quarterback, first of all, that he can trust. And then from there, you just build your team out. You just, every year it's so much turnover in the NFL. Teams that are in last can always go to first. I mean, there's 6 new coaching hires in the NFL with 32 teams every year. There was 10 openings this year. So, every year the roster is going to turn over. So, you have an opportunity to be good every year. So the Jets have a chance. I mean, they got to, build through the draft, build through who they have there that they trust, that they think is bought into their system and bought into the way they want to do things. And you go from there. Now, a draft pick, rookies, I'm just telling you, even with Mendoza, it could be a hit and miss. Like you ain't guaranteed with these first rounders that they're going to come into the NFL and set the world on fire. Some of them will, and some of them won't. So you just have to be ready for that.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, I think that it would be like the NBA, right? To where you just spoke about the rookies coming in. It's like, are the GMs the ones making the decision, or is the coach making the decision? Because you would think the offensive coordinator and the head coach, if the head coach is being offensive coordinator, you think that they would be involved. But just a little insight from your perspective.
Or in Ed's case with the Dallas Cowboys, is it the owner making the decision? So you have all these different pieces and parts.
Good point.
That are a part of the evaluation process of these college athletes. And your pro personnel department or your college scouting department, they're looking at these guys all year. So they know pretty much how guys stack up. They've cross-checked guys. They've done all the work. And then they put their plan together. They get together and they form, who they rank as far as by position, by arrest record, medicals, everything. They have everything evaluated on these guys. And so they have, guys, and then you got to look at the film. Some guys may test well at the combine. They look like Tarzan, but they play like Jane when you put the tape on.
Yeah.
And so, I can give you some examples of that, but I won't go into all those guys that I just remember guys who just looked awful at the combine.
Oh, I've been there.
But they were Hall of Famers when they put the pads on. Yeah. Cortez Kennedy, Iquan Bolden were awful at the combines, but they're Hall of Fame players.
What? Yeah.
And that happens. So you really have to trust in your scouting. You got to trust in the process of what got you to where you're at. And then you have your board. You have your board stacked, and you have it based on position, and then you have it based on the top 1 to 100 players. And it's most teams will draft according to their needs. What do we need? And you try to block out all the other distractions like that. Maybe the owner wants to pick a guy that a homeless guy told him, hey, you should pick Johnny Manziel. Or maybe, a GM's cousin or somebody, and the GM has all the power, and his cousin says, hey, you need to take this guy. So you just never know where it's coming from. You never know where the power structure is coming from and who's making that decision. Some teams it's the head coach, some teams it's the GM, some teams it's the owner, and it changes. And every draft is different. I've been in 5 different drafts. Every draft, some drafts, it's family oriented. Hey, everybody come on in. Some drafts, it's like corporate America. One guy's in the room, everybody else get out. We'll let you know who we're drafting. So it just depends on the team.
That's some amazing insight because it's just like the NBA. But Ed, I'm gonna go to you first. You got these rookie guys. Let's just take Fernando Mendoza, right? 4-year, $50 million contract with the 5th-year option. You got top 5 guy that's making $20 to $30 million. Like, you got to think about the veterans that are trying to get to that point, and you got these guys that are coming in that are not established. What's your thoughts on that? And then I'm gonna come to Ed.
I think Ned is right. It could be a hit or miss. Look, the Raiders have to hit on this, man. They do. Yeah. The last good quarterback we talked about was Derek Carr. Yeah. They tried Geno Smith. They tried Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
This is a franchise in a state of flux, man.
Yeah.
They've got a good tight end in Bowers.
Yeah.
They've a good running back in Ashawn Jeanty.
Yeah.
They got a center in the offseason.
Yeah.
You always talk about building a wall around him. But I got to say this, that you mentioned Kubiak is the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and Cousins is his guy. Front office is going to be telling him, hey, man, we got to see this guy play. You know how that goes. Yeah. And I also think the other thing about Brady, he's a resource. I understand you're saying it's a slippery slope, but he's a resource. He is a resource. So, back to your question, Kenny, I think what Ned is saying, too, with these contracts, Mendoza seems like a very humble guy. Yeah. I've seen some interviews. The thing with his mom always gets me, right? Yeah. And so all you can say is good luck, man, because all the things you mentioned, coverages, blitzes, all kinds of things, I think Kirk Cousins will be a very good mentor. But you mentioned Cousins might think of himself still as a starter, and I don't want to help anybody. But he's still, he's got a job in the league, and I think Mendoza will do well learning under him.
And Cousins has made a lot of money, so he's one of the top
200.
Yeah,
300
for an average guy. That's just
oh my goodness.
Man, what's your thoughts, real quick, on these guys making the type of money they're making without coming in and establishing themselves? Right, obviously the salary cap.
I'm not mad at anybody making money. You don't. Hey, these guys. I mean, I stand on that sideline. I played football, but I wasn't playing what those guys are playing. They're laying the wood to each other out there, so they deserve every penny they get. The salary cap prevents rookies from really making more than veteran guys. Now, your salary cap is where you have to have a really good balance. You got to know which guys are getting ready to leave in free agency, which guys you're going to have to re-up and pay them if you want to keep them. And so that's the delicate balance with contracts in the NFL. It's a little bit different than the NBA. That's why it's such a great sport, because the team at the bottom can always win, because you got to deal with that salary cap. And a lot of it has to do with how you decide to get rid of guys before they fall off a cliff, and whether you keep a guy who you think is going to really help your team culture-wise or just as a player or whatever. How you manage that salary cap is important.
Gotcha. Totally makes sense. Thanks for that insight, Ned. We'll be right back. We're going to talk some more draft, get some more insight from Ned James, the expert. We'll be right back. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. I got Kaylina in here producing with me, you guys, and I got my guy Ed Nunez from the Pit Press, and I got Ned James, who's over at African American Studies, that's helping at the University of New Mexico as well. He does things over there. Before break, something just went off. I'm like, hey, let's talk Patriots and what's going on with Mike Fable right now as far as him stepping away. Just dropped today, this morning. I just saw an unfortunate situation, the success that the Patriots have had as of late, and now you have to step away from the team. It's another distraction that's not needed for this organization. So, got to go to Ned James. What's your thoughts on this situation?
Yeah, interesting, because Vrabel is stepping away for the second round. He's going to be there for the first round, but he's going to step away for the last couple rounds and go to rehab for his family. I guess he said it's about him kind of trying to find himself with all the stuff with the Diana Rossini reporter. Now, my take on it, and a lot of people disagree with this, but I believe in Kaylina. She can try to jump in. I want Kaylina's opinion. I don't want the guy's opinion. I want Kaylina's opinion on this because this is my opinion. I believe Mike Vrabel should either be suspended 2 games and or fined as a result of an alleged affair, because it's infidelity and adultery, which is a crime. I don't want to hear anything from anybody, because guys are getting caught with a joint in the ashtray. Antonio Callaway, Cleveland Browns, 10-game suspension, conduct detrimental to the NFL.
Whoa,
is this conduct detrimental to the NFL? My thing is the patriarchy and the misogyny that goes into Rossini, being looked at as the villain in all this with this alleged affair, which they both are denying. But will the NFL step in when they step in and a guy gets pulled over? Antonio Callaway's, He's talking to the officer. He's saying, hey, it's just the butt of a joint. And he gets a citation. He gets suspended 10 games. Now, if a player, young people, the brother's getting suspended 10 games, that's a lot of money. Now we have a coach who, and he was a former player, and I guess players are probably a little empathetic, and people don't want to get involved in other people's lives. But I see the hypocrisy when it comes to dealing with men and women. Rossini, who it's just tough for women to get in, and I was telling you guys about Susie Culver and Jamel Hill.
Yeah.
These women, they come up and they're friendly, and Susie Culver was great. You have these relationships. They're trying to get close to the coaches like the men journalists get close to the coaches. And, you see, some kind of relationships become bonds between coaches and players. But in this instant, this is conduct detrimental to the NFL. Rossini has to resign from the Atlantic reporting. But there's a lot of pushback on and there's no real empathy for her, but yet there's empathy for Vrabel, and people are saying this is a personal matter. And I think that it's hypocrisy on the part of the patriarchy, where men and infidelity and adultery, which is a crime in America, ladies and gentlemen, should be punished in a way consistent with how you punish young people.
Kaylina, what's your thoughts there?
That is fascinating. We're talking about the patriarchy today. Respect.
That's right.
Respect. I mean, the inequality with stuff like that has been going on for centuries. Like, not just in sports, just in general. So I do feel like there is a certain point where if you're going to hold one gender to one standard, then you have to hold the other one to the same standard if we're really talking equality.
I mean, let's keep it real. I'm just going to back up Ned right now, because when you're an athlete or a coach or whatever, to a certain extent, if you're bringing in money and creating entertainment, you look at differently. Mm-hmm. It's just the truth. And I played in the NBA for 11 years. There's guys that would probably get away with certain things that they should not get away with. But it comes down to Ed. Ed, I'm gonna come to you, or even Ned. It's like, is marijuana illegal?
Right, and that's,
you know what I mean.
It is
wherever
it's when you can look at a guy's ashtray
under the NFL rules.
No, it's not that it's illegal, but if you're getting a citation for having a marijuana joint in your ashtray from a police officer and it gets reported in the newspaper, just like this alleged affair is being reported in the newspaper, okay, this guy gets 10 games. Conduct detrimental to the NFL. I'm just talking about the actual image of the NFL and what they decide
I agree.
to make people have to pay for. Why isn't Vrabel looked at in the same way a player would be?
I agree.
And as far as conduct detrimental to the league,
I agree.
When something like this applies, and it's a lot because it's the patriarchy and it's old, white men. Let's be real, and they don't want it to reflect on how they appear. Now, if it was a woman, let's flip the script. Mm-hmm. If it's a woman that's in charge, I mean, it would definitely be a suspension, in my opinion.
Scarlet letter.
And so that's why, and a scarlet letter, exactly. Mm-hmm. But now that it's a man, okay, he's failed as a father, as a husband, and I see that, and I tried to call it out, and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no,
not really.
He needs to be suspended 2 games. He should get. She lost her job. She had to resign from the Atlantic. Not that it's the NFL. It's not an NFL thing. But people are saying, well, the NFL shouldn't get into people's personal lives. Why is that? I'm like, wait.
Whoa.
This is conduct detrimental to the league. I'm not talking about his personal life. I'm talking about the appearance of it, just like the appearance of weed. But man could just say, hey, that joint wasn't mine. It was my buddy's. But the league is going to still suspend him. Well, the appearance. The league is suspended because of conduct detrimental to its image. And this should be one of those things.
Ed, I know you're a family guy.
Yes.
And speaking of women, right, she had to resign. Obviously, it's a big corporation, blah, 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 detrimental to the corporation that she had with the Atlantic. But I agree with Ned. Like, there probably is going to come some type of suspension. Maybe you would think there would.
Nope.
But this process is probably just going to fade away. But what's your thoughts on the situation with him getting suspended and then the other player, the actual player, getting suspended 10 games?
I think one of the things that you allude to, it's the shield, right? We got to protect the shield, and Roger Goodell has decided, what does he make, $60 million a year with a private jet? That's why when I see these dudes hugging that dude, I'm like, and again, they have to when they
I'm not mad at people's money, man.
No.
But
I'm just saying this guy has been judge, executioner, the whole thing, man. So when one guy gets 10 games for that, so the point is well taken. I get it. I understand it, and there's a part of me that it backs up what you say. But you already know. You and I have had several long talks about this, brother.
Yeah.
You know how it works.
Yeah.
So, what he's saying is true, but we're not going to see no suspension for Mike Vrabel.
Probably not. I mean, come on, man. It's
but
about
he
winning
should
football
get
games.
suspended.
Yeah, it's about winning football games. What did you say?
No, it's not.
Football is king?
It's not.
You said football is king.
I'm just saying the patriarchy. I'm just saying the
That's
image.
fair.
It's not a woman. If it was flipped, if Vrabel was a woman, he would be getting suspended.
That's fair.
But Vrabel is a man, and the good old boys, and you're going to hear it. That's why these meatheads are going to call in and say he doesn't deserve a 2-game suspension. He deserves a 2-game suspension and a fine.
See, he wanted my opinion, and I got to say that, yeah, that sounds fair.
Hey.
Because he's right.
Hey, it is
He's
what it
right.
is. Hey, did you guys see how Ed was neutral, you guys? Just saying. Just saying.
That was
Neutral.
close. Yeah.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jerry. You're in the sports animal. Kenny Thomas, what's up? Jerry, you there?
Hello?
What's up, Jerry? You there? What's going on? What you got? Jerry? I guess he hung up.
I think our phone lines are a little wonky. By all means, please call back.
Yeah, that sucks. But go ahead, Ned.
Yeah, no, but I was just explaining, if history, is any indication of how you get treated. Now, the New England Cheaters have gotten away with things. You can say whatever you want. This is a pattern of behavior. The owner gets caught in a massage parlor of prostitution, not once, but twice on video. Bill Belichick doesn't get caught once, twice, but 3 times for cheating. Time to cheat a Brady?
Go ahead.
Et cetera.
Finish your thought.
So that's why Vrabel, I believe, as the pattern for this organization, the organization needs to make a statement, and the NFL should make a statement.
Let's go to Jerry. You're in the sports animal. Kenny Thomas, what's up, man?
Tammy, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up? What you got?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
Go ahead.
Jerry, go ahead.
I don't think you guys can hear me.
Yeah,
We can hear you. Is your phone on mute? I guess he hung up again. But, Jerry, if you want to call back again, we can try one more time, man. We got to take a break. Want to come back. I want to get into this George Pickens situation, and then I want to get your thoughts on McCarthy and the Aaron Rodgers situation. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. I got Kaylina in here producing with me today. And I got Ed Nunez from the Pit Press in here with me, guys. And I got my guy Ned James in here with me as well, Lobo legend quarterback. Yeah, man, it's getting a little hot and heated up in here. People calling in. Yeah, people should be held to a certain type of standard in general. Yeah, when it comes down to it, can it be determined as conduct?
Detrimental to the league. NFL has the discretion.
I see what you're saying to a certain extent.
It's the discretion that the NFL has used to punish. And so certain people don't want that discretion to involve certain acts.
Yeah.
The act of adultery, which is, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, that adultery and infidelity is a crime. Now, you may not get punished for it. It's just like a speeding ticket. Yeah, okay. You get a speeding ticket, you can go there, you can go to traffic court or whatever. But these are crimes. And yet, and still, the NFL has broad ranging authority to discern and say, hey, you were driving 120 miles an hour. We consider that conduct detrimental to the league.
Now, that's the part I don't get.
And little marijuana, guys have little marijuana spliffs in their car. Hey, they were cited for it, conduct detrimental to the league. And people may think that that's just a small thing. But in the patriarchy, when you see a woman who has to resign as a result of infidelity, why shouldn't the guy, if the roles were reversed, why shouldn't it be, if say, for instance, Vrabel was working at the newspaper, The Atlantic, and he would get suspended? So why, and Rossini definitely would be suspended if she was the head coach of the Patriots, and she was caught, with this little issue with a man or something, and the leagues got notified about it, it would be considered conduct detrimental to the league.
See, the thing about it is that I don't like the fact that the kid got 10 games.
Yeah.
I hear your argument there.
No.
As far as that's
they
concerned,
have a marijuana policy. The NFL has a marijuana policy, especially guys who've been tested before and pop positive. And yeah, sure, okay, people think marijuana should be legal. It is legal. Federally, marijuana is not legal.
Yeah.
federally. But states-wise, there's state laws that, marijuana use for medicinal purposes or otherwise can be state laws. But federally, it's not. So, we get into the nuances of it. That's fine. But yet and still, the Patriots, once again, they have a pattern of behavior, misbehaving, and yet and still the patriarchy protects this Vrabel guy by saying, oh, poor Vrabel, he's got to help his family, he's going to counseling, and that's fine. I'm not trying to make light of counseling, but at the same time, you have to set a standard, and we expect young people to uphold a standard, and we have to be the model for that standard. And if you don't have the ethics and the morals to back your punishment of other people when they do things, why even have these rules? Why even have them?
So my question is, for clarity, is it that with the accountability, if they're saying, hey, if they're going to rehab and he's obviously making an effort to do better, are you still saying there needs to be consequences that accompany him?
100%. Because there's a
sense.
pattern of behavior with the Patriots and this organization. Something has to transpire. You have to have some kind of consequence for this action. To just dismiss it and to say we're being empathetic when this young lady had to lose her job as a result of it, I don't think it passed the smell test.
Got you.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, everybody's going to have their opinion, and, yeah, I think that's fair. So, Ed, hey, your Cowboys, man, since we got him here, you got George Pickens to where obviously you got the Cowboys that are looking at a young wide receiver from what I heard as far as what ESPN reported. That's one of the reasons why they did not give him what he wanted. What's your thoughts from that perspective with Pickens just being signed to that franchise tag?
Yeah, but did he sign it? I don't know if he signed it yet or
it's
not.
Coming. If they don't sign him to that franchise tag, what's going on?
He's on the franchise, but he hasn't signed it yet because once you sign it, you're locked into it. So he's trying to still negotiate, but he's got $27 million as soon as he signs his name.
He better sign that thing. What's your thoughts?
What my thinking is that dude had a fabulous season last year. He made some real tough catches. He's got the ability, a speed, 50-50 balls. He'll go out in the sky and get it. I like him a lot. But let's face it, you can't tie that kind of money up into two wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb's already making that money. Dak Prescott is making $150. I don't think they can afford him. So if I was Dallas, I would get him signed and try to trade him. And look, I'd love to keep him to stay. I would love to see that. But I don't know that he'll be happy playing under that franchise tag. So I think right now, strike while the iron's hot. Sign him and try to deal him, because if this goes on and on, you don't want him to walk for nothing. And I hate to say that I'd like him to stay there, but I think if the iron, strike while the iron's hot, you get him decided and then maybe try to deal him.
What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, that happens all the time with players on these franchise tags. They all want long-term deals, and they all want upfront money. And yet still, once he gets past the first day, it's risky with teams because and Ed's right from this standpoint, trading him, because it's risky from the team. Because once you play that first game, the whole season is guaranteed. Your contract is guaranteed for the whole year. So, like you said, if he's disgruntled, he doesn't, feel like he's playing for what he's worth, and you don't have a happy camper, and the guy's already coming with some issues from the last place he was at. It's a risk. It's a high risk for that amount of money. So, it'd be interesting to see what Dallas does.
One last question. Pittsburgh, man, with Aaron Rodgers, $30 million. They got the young fellow over there. I forgot his name. That's the backup quarterback that's waiting to get opportunities. What's your thoughts there with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, McCarthy, has coached him before. So Aaron's probably made some little sugar deal with McCarthy on the side. Say, hey, man, I just not going to say anything, but I'm probably coming back. I don't know if he's going to play for that much money. I mean, I'm sure they've probably already negotiated, how much he's going to make if and when he comes back. But I think he's going to come back for, he's an older guy. He's got to understand that part of it. And I'm sure McCarthy's kind of walked him through it. And he's probably said, hey, look, if you don't want to do this for that much, then just let me know. And if you will, then that's fine. We'll take you. But if not, we're going to move on. And you'll see it in the draft. They'll probably draft somebody, as a quarterback.
Yeah, one last question, man, before we let you go. You think the draft or free agency is the process of building right now these days?
See, that's hard. I really do think it's the draft because of the way the salary cap is. You really, every now and then you'll get lucky with a free agent, but it's really tough for those free agents, man.
Gotcha. Appreciate you coming in, Ned. Really
Appreciate you
do,
having me.
bro.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, way to let them Patriots have it. I totally get it. We'll be right back for one more hour of Unfiltered. Ed Nunez will be here with me, you guys, and it'll just be me, Ed, and Kaylina for the next hour. We're going to talk about some basketball, a lot of action going on there. We'll be right back. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. I got Kaylina in here producing with me today, you guys. And I got my guy, Ed Nunez from the Pit Press in here with me as well. I got a text message here that says, preach. I got a next text message that says, Will Howard. I don't know what that means. You know what that means, Ed? Will Howard. It's just random.
No,
I don't know
don't.
what that means. But, hey, it is one of those things, right? Ed, man, a lot of action going on. Let's jump into the NBA real quick, man. You got Orlando that played last night. They got away with one against Detroit. Nobody expected Orlando to win that first game. They got Van Carroll over there. They got Wagner. They got Carter. They got Bang. And they got the young fella Shrugs. And they got the young kid Black. Orlando's backcourt has been balling as of late, but Detroit came out in game 2. They had to get this game at home. They came out and they won 98-83 convincingly, especially compared to the first game in game 1. But, Ed, we got game 3 about to come up here in Orlando in a couple of days. But the way that Cade Cunningham came out and had 27 points, the first game he had 39. Just your thoughts on that series and how you see that unfolding.
The Detroit outscored Orlando 38-16 in the third quarter, and that game was very physical. You saw Banchero dunk in the face of Isaiah Stewart, and Isaiah Stewart, comes out and says, "I'm still here." And Banchero, put it in his face, man. But it's a physical series. Detroit had lost 11 straight home postseason games, a drought that had started in 2008. So I think, again, a very important. I didn't see Detroit losing 2 straight at home. I'm surprised that Orlando stole one there. I still have Detroit in that series. I think they're the better team, and they're a tough physical group. They get into gaps. Cunningham had a collapsed lung earlier in the season and came back, and they thrive on him, man. They've got some. We mentioned Duran, very physical. Stewart, very physical. Duncan Robinson, they picked him up from Miami, I think, a year ago, and he's given them some stretch shooting. So, J.B. Bickerstaff, I thought about you last night.
I played with him.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. So
Bernie.
His dad, Bernie Bickerstaff, the former head coach of the Washington Bullets many years ago. So, I think Detroit, I think they're going to win that series.
Yeah, it's obviously we're looking at Detroit getting past Orlando probably in 6, I would say, just based off of Orlando, the way they played in the first game. Them coming out and probably sneaking one out of the 2 at home. And then if you didn't know this, the series goes 2-2, 1-1-1, you guys, just to let you know it's a 7-game series. But the way that Detroit came out, you could tell that they came out with way more energy, and it was needed based off of the result of how Orlando came out and beat them. But at the same time, you got Ben Carroll. I feel like that can sustain them. He's averaged like 27 points during the regular season-ish. But I don't know, man. I just feel like Orlando might have a chance to be able to pull one off, especially out of these next 2 games. What do you think from that perspective? Playing at home in Orlando?
They shot 32.5%. Orlando did a season low.
Yeah.
So Detroit playing at home. Remember, I read an article about them in Sports Illustrated a couple months ago. Very physical defensive team. I like them a lot. I think Detroit, they have a very nice team. But I think going back to Bain.
He's the X factor. I like him.
Yes, he's a nice player. Banchero, Tobias Harris, Wendell Carter. They've got some pieces too. So I think Detroit will win the series, but I think Orlando might make it a little bit tough when they go back home.
Which is totally fair. Hey, man. Ed, hey, did you know, obviously, you knew Wemby got Defensive Player of the Year, and you got SGA that got Clutch Player of the Year, and you got Keldon Johnson with the Spurs that got Kia Sixth Man of the Year. And this just came out today. You got Derek White with the Celtics. That's Sportsmanship Award of the year. And then obviously MVP comes out tomorrow. But Derek White, man, obviously he's that X factor for the Celtics because my Sixers came out and gave them a run for their money. And look at the series right now, it's 1-1, right? Tied up. So obviously my Sixers have a chance to be able to go back to Philly. Hopefully, once again, it's kind of like the Orlando situation. They snuck one. Nobody expected that. And now they get a chance to go back without Joel Embiid. I feel like Paul George is that X factor because you got Tyrese Maxey that's there, and you got the young boy Edgecombe that's playing some really good. He's playing really good, especially being a freshman. A rookie. Yeah. I said freshman, being a rookie. But what do you think about the Celtics and that whole Sixers series going back to Philly?
You mentioned VJ Edgecombe, a little bit banged up the other night. He kept coming off the court, limping a little bit. But that kid, Kelly Oubre, George, Tyrese Maxey, to me, when he turns that corner and gets in the gaps, he can stretch, he can drive. That guy's strong, too. I'm very impressed by him. Now, Embiid supposedly is working his way back from that appendectomy, working with trainers. Will he return before the series is over? And are they playing better without him? That's a legitimate question because the floor is more wide open without him. Now, again, he brings, of course, we know what he brings. We know he's still a great player. He's had so many injuries, man. You mentioned he missed how much, 49% of NBA games, So you can't count on him to be back because you don't know how long it's going to last. But the way they played against Boston, the Celtics are going to come back with an answer, though. You know they are.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you get beat down like that at home.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come back with an answer. But Philadelphia at home, I like them winning at least one of those at home and, and stretching that series out. I still think Boston has an edge, but Tyrese Maxey is that X factor because he's just so young, springy, in shape. He's physical. I really like him a lot.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like the Sixers backcourt with Paul George is going to have to show up. I feel like, you got old head Tobias Harrison that's there.
He's another one.
But I feel like he's being a great leader right now. In the past couple of years, Tobias Harrison has not showed up from the perspective of like what I thought he should be bringing to the table. But this is where Paul George is supposed to show up. But the history of Paul George is like with the Clippers. Where was he when you had Kawhi and you had James Harden? But I'm not. Paul George got to show me a little bit more. But yeah, that's me, man.
Let me ask you this. I think you just said it yourself. When has that been his game? Again, he's a great player at Indiana. Remember that severe knee injury he suffered? He came back from that.
Yeah,
it was severe. Broke his legs in 3-4 places.
Yeah, it was bad.
Came back, but Colin Cowherd said this years ago. He said in clutch time, what has he delivered? This is 7 years ago. He went back on his film and what has he done in clutch time? And that was then. So I think here's the time for him to step. Look, he got suspended because that was a dumb suspension. That was on him. He's a 12-year vet.
Talk about lost money.
Right. He's a 12-year veteran. He knows better.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at him, if I'm the coach, and you can't say this to NBA players, but if I'm the coach, I'm like, hey, man, what can you give us here? Because we lost 25 games without you. We needed you. What can you give us, man?
He was trying to get that edge back to a certain extent. If you get suspended for 25 games, you got to be taking something illegal, right? That is not within the guidelines of the book that they give us of things that you should not be taking. So, yeah, man, it
hurt him.
Yeah,
that hurt the team.
It really did.
So if you're anybody that looks at yourself and takes self accountability, I don't have to ask myself, hey, I let these do. Of course, I'm not in the pros. I let these dudes down, man. What can I deliver here? He's still got it. Still got it, man.
I think he does.
Yeah. So I'm kind of anxious to see what can he bring, man. What can he do?
Yo, if you want to chop it up about the NBA and like what's going on, you can call 505-246-0610 or you can text me 505-246-0610. You can ask me about any game. I'm watching them all, man. So, hey, if you want to drop something, just call, say what's up, 505-246-0610. After this break, I want to come back and talk about OKC and the Suns. I don't think the Suns got it in them. I feel a sweep is coming. I just want to talk to you about that when we get back, and we'll talk about your Lakers too. Knocking off my Rockets, going down 0-2, going back to Houston. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. I got Kaylina in here producing with me, you guys, and I got my guy Ed Nunez from the Pit Press in here with me as well. Hey, for you callers that are calling in and correcting me, hey, I don't care. The thing about it is you guys are picking up the phone, and if you're not picking up the phone, that means you're listening. So with that said, that caller that called in and said that I said Tobias Harris wrong, my bad. I appreciate that. That just lets me know you're listening. And that text that said Will Howard, I appreciate that. Looked it up at the break. That's the backup QB for Pittsburgh. Thank you guys so much for that. But Ed, man, Phoenix, OKC. You got SGA that's balling out, and you got OKC that's playing some unbelievable ball. Phoenix, man, I don't think they got a lot of weapons. I saw some good progress with them with the play-in tournament, but obviously we do not see them getting past OKC in a 7-game series. At this point right now, I don't even see them going back to Phoenix and getting a win. If they were to get one in Phoenix, it's because of the 6-man being in Phoenix. I think Phoenix is going to get swept by OKC. What's your thoughts there?
Phoenix is, to me, when I've watched them play a couple of times, I'm like, gosh, they've got some pieces there. But they're somebody's hurt. This guy's hurt. That guy's hurt. I don't know that they've had their full lineup the whole year. But there's a little bit of a caution for OKC. Jalen Williams has a hamstring injury, and he's had a hamstring.
He hurt it again.
Yeah, and you know hamstrings. You know how they, Luka Doncic is out indefinitely. I don't know what kind of grade strain that Williams has, but he's an important player. But they're so deep, man. The Caruso's, Dort, Hartenstein, Holmgren. They come at you with length, athleticism. But that is something to be concerned about if you're OKC. SGA, what did he have last night? 37 points.
Oh yeah.
God, and you know what? The guy is calm. He doesn't really smiles. He doesn't get upset.
The Canadians, man, they're nice. Except for Dylan Brooks. He's a different beast.
Complete opposite. Can't stand that guy. But you know what? That guy had a great season for Phoenix. He took another step forward that I didn't think he had. So I got to give him credit. He's the guy that you love to have on your team, but when he's not on your team, man, yeah. He tried to get under LeBron's skin a couple of years ago, and LeBron, we'll talk about LeBron in a minute, but I got to give it to LeBron. He's not the guy that engages in a lot of wolfing or fighting.
Yeah, he does.
He does, but he doesn't try to fight people.
But he fights other ways. Give him a whistle. Come on, man. Hey, we can get into that in a minute.
Yeah, no, but I got to give him credit that he doesn't get thrown out for fighting and stuff like that. I'll give him credit there.
Now that's fair.
And again, he's not one of my favorite players, but going back to OKC and Phoenix, they're the champions, man. They're the champions. There's a reason. There's a reasons they're the champs, and they're showing Phoenix.
I feel like once you get there, you know what it takes to get there. And I wasn't a firm believer of them getting back there with losing some of the pieces, but they got the core of their pieces, right? Somebody just text sweep. I appreciate you guys engaging. I really do. With SGA scoring 37 points with the MVP award coming out, did he just make a statement, you think, last night? 37 points is not no slouch.
That's what does he have? So many straight 20-point games. I can't remember what the number is. That's what he does. That's what he does, man. He smiles at you. He gets to the paint. He gets to the free throw line. He can stretch. He's a great player. So I don't know if there's a statement made. I think he's made a statement throughout the regular season. They asked him, I told you about a month ago, do you have any statement to make? He goes, hey, I let my game speak for itself. So
hey, I appreciate it. Hey, yeah, he's doing that too. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Edward. You're in the Sports Animal with Kenny Thomas. What's up?
Well, Kenny Thomas, they always say never trust a man with two first names. So I have the utmost respect for you and your career.
Thank you.
I promised my good friend Edward that I would call in. Fascinating topic. I want to talk about SGA briefly. And again, you've forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever learn. but I respect your opinion. But let me say this about SGA. I think they're going to win back-to-back championships.
Okay.
And when he completes the circuit of back-to-back championships, back-to-back season MVPs, back-to-back finals MVPs, he's going to be one of only 4 people to ever do that. The first one was Larry Joe Bird back in the 80s. The second one was Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And the third was LeBron, I think his middle name is Ramon James. And he's going to put himself in elite company. And Kenny and Edward, this might go down, and his trajectory is still continuing, right? He's kind of in the early part of his prime.
Oh, yeah.
It might go down as the best NBA trade, one of the best NBA trades in NBA history. What are your thoughts?
Oh, hey, great point. Thanks, man. I appreciate you calling in. That's pretty cool. Thanks for getting people to call in, bro.
No, Edward, good guy. Edward, book of knowledge. He'll come at you with football, baseball, basketball. Very avid watcher of sports and has deep opinions about them. But I just got to say this: the Clippers traded SGA, man. They traded him away. Yeah. The Clippers. Remember we said this the other day. The L.A. Clippers, San Diego Clippers, Buffalo Braves. This is why. But Edward makes a good point there. I think people forgot that he was with the Clippers first.
Yeah. People do forget. I totally forgot when he brought that up. I was like, whoa. When you think about the James Hardens and the Kawhi Leonards and the and all the other people that have circulated through there, even when I was playing, you had some good names. You had Blake Griffith. You had some guys, CP3, to where they had some chances to make some runs. But hey, I know they're eating this one. Just like imagine. I forgot the Kings were supposed to pick up. Yeah, I'm gonna hold that. People are gonna start killing me because I might be wrong, so I'm not gonna go there. But hey, your Lakers, man. Let's just go there real quick before we get into the Knicks and the Hawks. That's kicked off right now with the early game of the 3. But yo, man, LeBron James. I'm a fan, but he's not my GOAT, right? And I will admit that. But what he's doing right now at the age that he's doing, who would ever thought that he would be in the position that he's in? Now, Zach Brandt, my Ford guy, Capital Ford Santa Fe, you guys, if you're looking for a car, you got to go up there. He brought up a good point. Yesterday, he said, how many games did LeBron James miss? He missed, a third, if not 20 games of the season? So is he fresh right now? And then you got Austin Reeves that might have an opportunity to come back before this series is over, because I feel like he's going to be needed. But what's your thought on LeBron and what he's actually doing right now? And I don't think he's going to be able to sustain all the way to the Western Conference Finals, right?
I don't know that they'll make the Western Conference Finals.
That's my point.
I don't think, I said that, I told you this a couple months ago. They're not deep enough. They don't have the guards or wings that OKC or San Antonio. They don't. But look, and I'm going to tell you this about LeBron. I've been a Laker fan, I told you, since 1972. I'm wearing Jerry West's logo. He's my first poster on the wall.
Oh, yeah, we getting that on camera, too.
So I'm a huge Laker fan. And when he signed with L.A., I remember when he did the 5, 6, 7 championships, I told my son, I'm done with that dude, man. And then they lost to Dallas that year. I was really happy they lost. And then I remember my son Nick saying, Dad, he may sign with the Lakers someday. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. When he did, I can't tell you that I was ecstatic about it, but they did win a championship. They call it a bubble championship, whatever they want to call it. They won a championship. Now, when I watched him play the other night, I told my wife, this is amazing. This guy's 41 years old, man. Yeah. Still soaring with double. Look,
he looked young.
Fadeaways.
He looked like he was about 30.
Now look, if
in that last game,
I thought the Lakers would move on. $51 million. I say, hey, next year he's a free agent. He's off the books. I can't say it's out of the realm of possibility they sign him again. I can't. He's playing at a high level. He can play 2 more years. Look at him. So can he sustain it? I don't think people thought. They thought, hey, he's without Reeves. He's without Luka. Houston's going to put a clamp on him defensively and make other Lakers beat him. He's been a distributor. He's finished to the hole. Fadeaways. He's done what they've needed. Stepping into threes. He looked really, really quick with his movement. He's amazed me. He really has. Kennard has played out of his mind.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Well, I thought
he is a white guy, man. What do white guys do? They can shoot, bro.
Oh my goodness!
Just saying.
We mentioned Durant played the other night. I thought his legs. He had no bounce in the third and fourth quarter. He's not a playmaker. He turned the ball over with some careless turnovers. That doesn't mean to say I don't think he's great. I do. They need him in the lineup, but I
He's
just
not a playmaker?
He struggled the other night, playmaking the other night.
Let me tell you why he struggled, which I got to give credit to your Lakers.
They
Like,
did
your
double them.
Lakers,
Yeah.
whoever was closest to him, went and jumped him whenever they had
Double
the ball,
team.
right? Like, you can't have KD in a situation now to where he's the focal point, obviously, on the offensive side, right? But when you have somebody running at him and he's just at the top of the key, what do you have to do? You have to escape dribble or try and make a pass and get the ball out of your hands, right? But when you have your teammates that on the Rockets that are not coming to the ball and flashing and creating opportunities to where he's not in those type of situations to where he can actually make plays, I feel like they got stagnant because they're used to watching KD.
That's true.
They're used to watching him. And then put it like this. What happened to some old school floppy action to two big set down screens for the two guards? And KD is probably the first one to go whichever way he wants. Unbelievable mid-range shooter. Go back to basics, right? You can't have
Quick
him
hitters.
out away from the three-point line in between the three-point line and half court. That's putting him in a messed up situation because he's not going to be able to be effective.
I think that'll change on Friday night. I think
They don't have a choice.
Yeah,
like,
I think it'll change.
It's the same thing like with Jake Hall, right? Like, I'm a firm believer. He's a shooter. Like, Royce Only, what do? We had him come off a screen and another screen. And it's not the last screen as the guard screen. It's a big setting the last screen. And then it's the shooter. And then what do? The big slips, right? It's that
Boom.
simple, man. But I just felt like him being out there, I think the Lakers had a great game plan. And I was mad. I was boiling because it's like you're not putting him in the right situation to be able to be effective.
I thought that knee injury was that did affect him a little bit.
He bony, man. He
Yeah.
bony.
Yeah.
He's like Wemby
Yeah.
to a certain extent. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. And that's the other thing with Wemby. Like, he's fragile, right? He's 21 years old. He's 7'7" and a 6-something body frame as far as the length and everything. Man, this kid, yeah.
He hit his face hard. Man.
Yeah, man.
I don't think he's going to play the next. I'd be surprised if he played the next game.
They're trying to see if he's going to travel for Game 3. That's the latest.
Yeah, I hope he can.
I don't see it happening.
I told my wife this morning. I said, "Oh my goodness, man, he hit the floor really hard." You know, but I'll tell you this:
And that wood don't bend.
I expect KD to have a huge game.
He doesn't have a choice.
I expect 35 points.
If they don't win Game 3, it's it's over. If they don't win Game 3, I could see them winning Game 4. But if the Lakers have a chance to go back the best of 3, and they play at home 2 out of the 3, come on, man. Come on. It's not going to happen, but yeah.
Got to make those adjustments if you're Houston.
Yeah,
Uba Dike is a good coach. He's a good coach.
And he should be because he was under Popovich, right?
He's a
like
good
he
coach.
was there when I was there with the Spurs when I was still in the league, right? He was still he was getting acclimated as a coach, and he was behind the bench with Pop. So when it comes to studying and the knowledge and the teaching, he has all of that. So I would expect some type of change too as well, but we'll see what happens, man. Hey, after this break, I want to come back and I want to talk about my Mike Brown, my guy, and his Knicks. Can Karl Anthony Towns actually show up in the fourth quarter? The jury's out on him, but he needs some support. We'll be right back. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. I got Kaylina in here with me, producing today, you guys, and I got my guy Ed Nunez from the Pit Press in here with me as well. I appreciate you both coming in and supporting. I really, really do. Yo, Ed, let's get to the Lobos, man. You just talked about this young fella signing. What's his name?
Rytis Patriots, by way of
Another European.
Played for Air Force, then played for Cal last year, but only played in 8 games, was hurt. But I don't know if you remember Patriots a couple of years ago at the Pit playing for Air Force, knocked UNM off with a 78-7. He hit a game winner. Patriots, when he played for Air Force, averaged 8.2 points a game and 5.7 rebounds. And I think this is a very important signing. He's an older guy, 24 years old. Will give Coach Olin some inside presence, can knock down the three, can rebound. I'm sure they're still looking to sign some bigs, but Patriots, that's a great signing for our UNM head coach, Eric Olin. It's a great signing. I told you we had the Grand Canyon guy on last night, and Grand Canyon has done some work in the portal. Wyoming, I understand, under the greatest name in the conference, Sundance Wicks, the coach over there, has done some work. I love Sundance. I love watching him work that sideline, man. That guy gets after it. He'll let his players have it. Yeah. He'll let them have it, man. But Wright is portrayed as the new Lobo, and I think, Kenny, it's a very important signing. Still looking for a couple of 6'9", 6'10" guys. I think Coach Olin has done a good job.
Perimeter player, basically? What do you see?
He can stretch a little, too.
He can stretch. Is he a guy that can play with his back to the basket or turning face or anything like that?
I don't remember that so much, but I know he can stretch a little bit, but he'll get in there and he'll definitely get some rebounds.
Because we need some big bodies, man. Bad.
Yeah, and you mentioned the back to the basket. Bouillon had some success with that a little bit. JT Rock, I thought, was getting better as the season ended. I'm disappointed that he didn't come back, but if someone's telling you, look, I can get you $500,000 or $1 million over here, what would you do if you're that age? I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, hey, more pieces added is the key to the game, right? So just keep stacking them up, Coach Olin. Let's go to the phone lines. You're on the Sports Animal with Kenny Thomas. What's up?
Hey, Kenny. How you doing, man?
I'm good, but who's this?
This is Howard, man.
Okay. I don't want to assume. I know the voice, but what's going on, Howard?
Well, I heard you proclaim something about Will Anderson signing with the best team in Texas yesterday, but I don't recall the Cowboys signing him.
No, not at all. It's the other side to where you should be happy. You don't got that $3 million, $150 million man. 3 year. 3 years.
I'm hoping maybe Will Anderson can teach C.J. Stroud how not to choke. So we'll see how that goes.
Hey, that's fair, man. That's fair.
Because C.J. Stroud is all that kept you guys from advancing in the playoffs. Because that's a solid unit there in Houston. So,
well said.
Anyway, having said that, Edward called in. I heard him earlier. We are the self-anointed Hall of Fame morning callers, Edward, myself, Grady, and Pecos, and Jess Martinez. For years, we would call in, and it's kind of split off a little bit, but we were the self-anointed Hall of Fame callers. So that's where Edward came from. I don't know if you knew that, Ed.
Actually, I used to be a co-host with On the Mic with Mike Adams years ago. And so, Edward would call quite a bit then, so I remember, yes.
Man, I just appreciate you guys calling in, and if you're texting, I appreciate that too. But, hey, I know you want to talk about your Cowboys. What's up?
Well, actually, I'm going to talk about the NBA playoffs because I'm going to drop a bomb on you. Austin Reeves will be making his return shortly. I'm not sure how far away Luka is, but the way LeBron's playing, he's going to probably unretire Shaq's Superman cape, and I think the Lakers are going to make some noise all the way to the conference finals.
Ooh.
And then from there, so, come on, LeBron, love him or don't love him, I like LeBron.
I like him.
I mean, he's playing out of his mind,
he is.
Kenny. He's playing out of his mind.
Oh, I don't disagree, but you said to the Western Conference Finals.
Yep, I did.
Okay, that's where that woo came in. Just saying.
Yep.
Well, hey, we might as well.
I'm not willing to place a wager on it, but
Not at all, man. Hey, my Rockets are down 2-0. 0-2.
Yep.
Man. It's unexpected, obviously, but we'll see what happens.
I don't know if you agree with me here, but I think, honestly, I believe it's a little bit of a chemistry issue in Houston.
We don't have a point guard.
Thank you. So there's a little bit of a chemistry issue there, and nobody knows who's really running the point. So you need a good field general, and Kevin Durant's getting long in the tooth, but he might have another year or two in him.
I totally agree. Go ahead, Ed.
You know what? He's still amazing to me. That high, and I think you're right. Quick hitters. Get him. What does he do best? So get him in position to succeed. The man has 32,000 NBA points. We've seen that high release shot. Who's ever blocked it?
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have a huge game.
He should not be bringing the ball up.
No.
Right? Like that's wasted energy for him at 37.
Yeah, get him off picks, man. Get him what he does best.
Agree.
Yeah.
Hey, let me start coaching. Just saying. Coach up.
So, Ed, I'm going to ask you a question, Ed. If the Cowboys trade up, are you going to lose your mind? Because I am.
You know what, Howard? I got to tell you this. That I've been a fan since 1970, man. So I've seen all these things that Jerry's supposedly going to do, and he's going to do this and that. I just kind of hold my breath and hope for the best, man. They drafted well with Tyler Booker last year. They got some good pieces. They need defensive help. I think you and I would both agree on that. So I just kind of hope they stand pat. I don't see them trading up. I've heard they're making, noise and this and that. And, I think we both know that 30 years of not going to an NFC, even an NFC championship, players and coaches have come and gone. We know what the issue is. People try to blame Dak, Romo. We know what the issue is. It's him. It's Jerry Jones.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm so tired of people saying Dak or Romo. Those guys were solid quarterbacks. I think they are. They were, and in Romo's case, he's not. Yeah.
Those were two more than capable quarterbacks of getting the team to the Super Bowl. And once you're in the Super Bowl, you never know what happens. And I had this thought, this thing in my mind of the Cowboys drafting Caleb Downs with the 12th pick. And then I realized it was a dream. I woke up and went to work. So, he's the guy I have my eye on. But let's see what happens. I'm just hoping they stick with their 12-20 and go defense. Use common sense, Cowboys.
Absolutely.
But again, I love my Cowboys, but we are talking Cowboys.
That's
Sometimes
right.
they lack common sense.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Appreciate you, Howard. Hey, come on, Ed. You guys got the 12th pick and the 20th pick, and you probably got 100 more picks, but you guys got to make some decisions, right? Because if you're not going to capitalize on George Pickens on the offensive side, like you said, I agree. You guys got to go defense.
They have to. I mean, the defense was one of the worst in the NFL last year, and that's what I mean. Dak Prescott did his job. Dak had a great offensive side of the ball. Williams, the running back, had 1,000 yards. Pickens and Lamb both had 1,000 yards receiving. So the defense is porous. They need a lot of help. So I'm hoping to see defensive picks at 12 and 20.
Let's go to Robert before we go to break. Robert, you're in the Sports Animal with Kenny Thomas. What's up, bud?
First of all, George Pickens just signed his tender for his contract, so he's probably going to be traded. So see ya. Good luck.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, hey, reason I want to call is because you guys been talking about Mike Vrabel. This is coming from a guy that swears up and down him and his so-called girlfriend were on a little vacation in Arizona with a bunch of other coaches and NFL people. Dude, you should be fired for being stupid. They have cameras everywhere. You should know. Didn't your team have cameras everywhere on the opposing team's sideline and in their practice facilities? Yeah.
That's what I said.
Go figure. This idiot gets in trouble or should be in trouble and should be fired for being stupid. Period.
That's fair.
Not to mention he's in trouble with his wife for, cheating on her. But anyway, it is what it is. You guys have a good draft night. We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate you, Robert. You have a good one, bro. Hey, it's one of those things, man, to where, hey, people are going to have their opinion and everybody's held to a certain standard. But we got one more segment. We will be right back. I got Ed and Kaylina here with me, you guys. The NFL draft is about to kick off. Yeah, hey, all those people there, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's so many people, man, show up for the NFL draft. Yeah. We're sitting here watching on TV, you guys. We'll be right back. You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 the Sports Animal. You listen to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 the Sports Animal. Now it comes. Here I am thinking I'm going to go straight to the phone line, Kaylina, and I got Ed Nunez here with me. I was pre-prepping my phone line intro.
He was excited.
Maybe I'm nervous because this dude's coming on, I guess. But let's bring in my guy, Zay. You're on the Sports Animal with Kenny Thomas. What's going on, bro?
Hey, Kaylina, Ed, and Kenny. How are you three doing?
Kaylina, ladies first.
Chilling. We're all chilling.
How you doing, bro? Hey, thanks for finally calling in, you stranger, even though you came in on the show. But, hey, you big time now.
Yeah, I was sitting here in the car. I was heading over to the gym, and I was like, it's draft day. They're talking some Cowboys. I got to tune in. And I heard Howard call. Howard, Cowboy faithful. That definitely enticed me. I was like, okay, I need to drop my little 2 cents in a little bit.
Oh, I bet it did. And you got your boy Ed Nunez here from the Pit Press as the Cowboys fan. But, hey, what's your 2 cents on George Pickens finally signing his tenure? For the tag, 27 million, and
27.9, I believe.
Where does this instant trade come from?
Well, go ahead, Zay.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, that doesn't mean he's going to get traded. That just means he's now eligible to be traded. So, I don't think he's going to be traded. I mean, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, these are the same two guys that made Dak Prescott play on a franchise tag. And then Dak went out and snapped his leg, obviously. And, as they did right by him and they paid him his money afterwards before they even saw how he was going to bounce back from that. So I don't think that Pickens signing this franchise tag means he's going to get traded. I think the reason why is nowadays we have the luxury of social media, and players, if they're upset, they'll show it on social media. And if there's any player who's not scared to show when they're upset, it's George Pickens. And he hasn't said anything. He hasn't shown any disapproval. He's been hanging out with CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott has came out and said a month ago that if, he feels like Jerry's going to play this game with Pickens, he's going to get involved. So the players have even spoken out and said they're going to step in if Jerry dares to try and get rid of Pickens. So I also agree with Howard. I think they need to go for Caleb Downs. And if it's not Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, I think Sonny's probably going to be gone. But they need to just go all defense today. If they go all defense, I'll be happy. Now, if they trade Pickens, I've heard that there's a possibility, if you're the Cleveland Browns and Dallas offers you George Pickens, the 12th pick and the 20th pick, you got to really look at that at that point. You got to really wonder and ask yourself, that might be worth it. Now, for Dallas, that'd be absolutely insane. But if you drop Myles Garrett on that defense right now and then maybe draft a solid wide receiver in the second round, you could arguably be a better team. So I don't know.
Yo, so Ed, he dropped Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State. You said earlier putting emphasis on defense with your Cowboys. What do you think about what Zay said?
Zay, I don't know that Caleb Downs will be there when they pick. I don't know. They project him at number 7 from the Commanders. This is a Sports Illustrated mock draft. I'd love to see that. But Zay, I got to tell you, man, I just don't know that they could tie up that kind of money in 2 wide receivers. I know they paid Dak the money. I get it. They paid Lamb. I'd love to see Pickens stay. So I just don't know. He wants that big money. I know he's hanging around CD. I get that. He's got a tremendously huge ego. A lot of those wide receivers do. They're divas. Yeah. I'd love to see it. Hey, the guy, we saw what he did last year. Man, I've watched the Cowboys since 1970s. Hey, I'm old. So they've had Drew Pearson, Dez Bryant, right? Now, Dez made some phenomenal catches. But Pickens, the 50-50s he made, I mean, him and Dez were different. But the guy made some great catches, got the speed, the athleticism to go get it, 50-50 balls, and he'll pluck it out of the sky. I just don't know that they're going to tie up that kind of money in 2 wide receivers. That's just my point. And if they can get something for him and not let him walk, they got to do it. Can't let him walk for nothing. That's just me.
Hey, they about to become the Cincinnati Bengals and pay 2 wide receivers and don't concentrate on defense, and then look at what happens.
Another point there.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the biggest fear, is ending up like them. But I'll say one thing about Jerry, and I think, Ed, you can maybe attest to this. He, the past year, I'm not going to toot his horn too much, but he has moved a little bit differently. He didn't have his hands all in the cookie basket when picking, the defensive coordinators and, the different staff members that they put on the team. And also, they've done some things this offseason that I thought was a little bit different. But one thing with Jerry also that he has stood on business about is he keeps saying, look, we paid Dak all this money. We got to make sure Dak's taken care of. And Dak has openly said he wants Pickens there. And to be honest, I could make an argument that Pickens is better than Lamb last year. He definitely was more consistent. He does get upset, and he might throw fits, but he doesn't get upset and check out of the game. CeeDee Lamb will get upset and check out of the game, and, you're wondering if his mental's in the right place. But Jerry has Dak at his number 1 priority. I think their offensive line is good enough to not look that way first round. But, other than fixing that defense, you get rid of Pickens, I would guarantee that Dallas is going to grab a receiver early in the second round, or they might even, try and trade for one in a trade package. I just can't imagine them leaving Dak Prescott with only 1 solid wide receiver again, because that's not going to work out. And injuries happen, so you never know.
Appreciate you, Zay, for calling in, my guy. I got a couple more minutes. You got calling sooner, bro.
I got you. You guys be smooth. Thank you for taking the call. Great job, Kenny, Ed, Kaylin. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Appreciate you, fam. Based off of what he just said, your thoughts?
He's got a lot of different thoughts, and I just got to say that all those could come true. I know what he's saying about CD. Now, look, I will say this against Detroit last year. I thought Pickens, a couple of balls there, I thought he gave up on a couple routes. He had a couple people beat, stopped, stepped it, and didn't finish the route. Now, that again, though, he had a great season, but he's going to want his money, period. He's going to want it. And I just don't know. I'm hearing, hey, you know what? That's a good brother right there, Zay. That's a good dude, man. Good dude. Really like him a lot. So I respect his opinion. I hope they can keep him and get a great defense. I want it all. Yeah. Is that possible fiscally with what the Cowboys are looking at salary cap wise? I hope so.
Yo, last couple of minutes, we got the Hawks. That's up 44-32 to the Knicks. Real quick on the Knicks in that game.
Knicks they got to figure it out, man. They got to. You know what? Hawks. What did McCollum say? Let Brunson guard me. You heard what I said. I want him to guard me.
Unbelievable. So, they're in Atlanta too right now. Hey, watch out, New York. Yeah, I don't know about that one, but hey, you got Cleveland taking on Toronto, man. Obviously, Cleveland's up 2-0. Going back to Toronto, you think Toronto got one in them?
I got one, but you know what? Is Harden gonna, is he gonna make this difference? Yeah. He's another guy.
Yeah.
He's a great scorer, great whatever. What has he won? Yeah. Here's his chance, another chance. Yeah.
And then the big one tonight, man. The big smooth Jokic. Find out if he's MVP tomorrow. Taking on Minnesota. In Minnesota, it's going to be a tough one, man. I think Denver can pull it off, but I'm a little hesitant because you got Minnesota squad that's young and there's some boys that's playing real good basketball right now.
McDaniel said none of them brothers could guard him. No, they can't guard. So I'm anxious to watch that because I want to see how they're going to respond.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Kaylina, you got anything before we get up out of here?
I'm chilling.
You sure?
It was a great show.
It was a good one today. Ned James even brought you in a little bit there for a second.
I know he wanted my opinion, and I didn't even know what he was talking about.
My guy, Ed, what's going on with the Pit Press, bro? Anything coming up?
We'll have the update on the newest Lobo signees probably sometime this weekend.
Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you missed the episode, you can go to YouTube and search Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas. And you can go to all the podcast platforms as well to search Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas. And you can go to my social media, Kenny Thomas NBA. I got Kaylina, Ed. I got the whole crew there. Eric Strauss, Clayton Shields, Jonah. They're all there. And guests, Kenny Thomas NBA, you guys. Thank you, Kaylina. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you guys so much. Ed, I'll see you Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. Kaylina, I'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully you can tune in tomorrow. Got one more day. Catch me over on KOB4 at 10 and 6 a.m. every day for the rest of the week and Monday through Friday. I'll get with you guys tomorrow. Thanks for listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.